Does Bryan Kohberger's public defender have a conflict of interest in representing him in the Idaho 4 case? Fuel me once here, driving instructor of the world. Well, there's a conflict about the conflict of interest. Now, a conflict of interest is based on whether the attorney can represent a client effectively. In a conflict of interest situation, a person has a duty to more than one person involved in the case on each side, theoretically. So they cannot do justice because of that or the potentially adverse effects of that. Here's the situation. Ann Taylor, Bryan Kohberger's public defender, was, until January 5th, and that date's going to be important, representing Xana Kernodle's mother, Karen Northington, in 4 drug-related cases up until that date, January 5th. Until that date, she also had power of attorney to find her a rehabilitating facility, a rehab facility. January 5th is significant because that's the day that Bryan Kohberger first appears in the Idaho courts, and when asked, do you need representation, he says, I have representation. And Ann Taylor was that representation. But before she goes into that court, she filed this withdrawal as Kara Kernodle's attorney, Karen Northington's attorney. She does that so she can represent Bryan. Here's another view of that. Then Christopher Schwartz becomes Kara Kernodle's new attorney. Now, obviously, this is emotionally brutal. Kara just loses her daughter and then feels betrayed by an attorney that she trusted enough to give her power of attorney to, someone who could make decisions for her. Not only that, her daughter Jasmine was going to WSU, the same school Bryan Kohberger was going to. But as of yet, it's not strictly a conflict of interest because of the resignation. But here's where it gets interesting. Former FBI agent Jennifer Kofendorfer says, but the defense theory of the case makes this a conflict of interest. Now, she claims that the defense is going to argue that 1122 King's address was a trap house, a drug house, and that Kaylee and Maddie were called the Molly twins, and that they were getting drugs supplied by Kara Kernodle. That accounts for the 8 hours where the phone call wasn't made to police because they had to clean out the house. The problem with that is the defense hasn't put forth a theory, and Jennifer doesn't know this yet. We need more information.